So this is day 2 of my 10 days of marathon. If you haven't seen already, I'm doing a bit of a vlog for the 10 days leading up to my marathon that I'm running in Richmond on the 11th of September. A couple of reasons, to talk a little bit about my training, talk about what marathon running means to me, why I'm doing it, and why I'm raising money for Calm, the campaign against living miserably. Today, I thought to just talk a little bit about Calm and just talk about why I'm running the marathon for them and why I'm trying to raise money for Calm. Campaign Against Living Miserably is a great charity that do a lot of work to try and raise awareness around mental health, specifically around mental health regarding male suicide. And there are a lot of great charities out there. And obviously, when you decide to run or do anything for a charity, do any sort of fundraising event, there's huge amounts of charities in there. I chose Calm for my first marathon back in July of last year, just because mental health is a cause that's very close to my heart, because I don't think it's an issue, even now, even though it's come a long way, that is talked about enough. Because ironically, it's one of those issues that the more you talk about it, the less the issue will exist. It's not like some other cause, great important causes like cancer research or Alzheimer's research or all sorts of brilliant charities. But the more you talk about cancer, it's not going to improve cancer, if you see what I mean. The amount of research that's being done is great, and the more awareness that's out there and the more money's being given, the better it will be. But ironically, the more you talk about mental health, the more it will encourage people to talk about mental health, and that actually solves the problem. It's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. And the Campaign Against Living Miserably do a huge amount to try and raise awareness of how big a problem male suicide is in this country. Male suicide is still one of the biggest killers in men under 45 in this country, even after the past couple of years of COVID. With every disease under the sun and every condition under the sun, it's still one of the biggest killers. And when that should, with the right help and the right amount of support, it should be completely preventable. That shouldn't be a thing, but it is. And it's because a lot of, as you'll know, there's a lot of stigma around men asking for help or men showing any sort of weakness whatsoever. And that's, a lot of the time that's built up in tradition and history, and it's a subconscious thing, I think, for a lot of men. I think a lot of men don't realise what the problem is, and how are you? Oh, I'm fine. The old adage of first step in solving a problem is realising there is one. Well, a lot of men they don't even realize what the problem is, and they think they can just get past it, and they don't want to bother people is a big thing as well. That's more of a British thing. I don't want to bother somebody else with my problems. But the mere fact that you can just talk to somebody usually is a big thing. It's very close to my heart because I've suffered with mental health issues in the past, mainly as a teenager, but even more recently, to be honest, as recently as lockdown. In all of my previous jobs before currently working for Experian before lockdown, I've been very active. I've been on my feet my entire life. I've been between security and a teacher and working in retail. They're all very active on your feet jobs. To go from that to sitting behind my desk at home, not even a desk in an office, at home, and not being able to see people all the time was a real struggle for me, and had quite an effect on both my mental and then, by extension, my physical health. But I'm very lucky because I've got a very strong support network around it. I've got an incredible wife. I'm very close with my parents and some of my family, and I've got a very good, close-knit group of friends. And I know at any point I could reach out to any of those and say, look, I'm not okay. Do you mind just listening to me ramble on for a little while? As anyone knows that you've probably seen the length of this video as well, knows that I like to talk and can talk with the best of them. But that idea of being able to talk and admit your vulnerability is a big thing for a lot of men, and it's not talked about enough. And if more men were able to get past this stigma of weakness, and that goes into other issues of toxic masculinity as well, and when masculinity gets in the way of us being able to live our everyday lives, the more it's talked about, the better it is. So that's the only reason I'm running in a Calm, to be honest, because it's an issue that the more it's talked about and the more people know, the better and easier it is to solve. So if you think that's a worthwhile cause, if you've been touched by what I've said today, or if you think in any way, shape or form it's something that deserves donating, then I've put the link in my bio on Instagram. I've shared it on Twitter and on Facebook as well. So please donate if you think that's something that is worthwhile. And I'll be back tomorrow for day 3 of my 10 days of marathon vlogging, when I'll talk a little bit more about my training. So I've got a long run based tomorrow morning, so I'll talk a little bit more about what marathon training actually involves. But until then, thanks.